Welcome back to City on a Hill Gaming, a tabletop RPG actual play podcast. To find out more, visit us online at cityonahillgaming.com or follow us on Twitter at cityonahillgame. We hope you enjoy our show.
And we move on to the meat of Microscope. All right? We are doing rounds of history. All right? So, the way this works, just to refresh, the focus is determined by the lens. And I'm going to go ahead and start as the lens because, again, I've done this before. Just to give you guys some idea of how this works. The lens is going to choose a focus, the theme of this round. And again, this can be anything. We can talk about a concept. We can talk about an institution. We can talk about places, whatever it is. Okay? And that's the general theme that we're going to be discussing. Okay? And then we'll go around the table, add things loosely related to that theme. Okay? So if the theme is justice, anything that you can vaguely connect to justice is stuff we talk about. Okay? And then we wrap up with me adding one or two themes, or one or two elements. All right. And if I add two, those need to be nested under each other. And as a reminder, if you look at the top here, the history has 3 levels. There's periods, which are spans of time with some thematic connection. Events, which are events happening within that period at a particular time and place in the order we describe. And you can put things before or after any other event or any other period, totally fine. Or scenes, which are, okay, this happened and either this is what happened and I dictated, or we play it out real quick and figure out what happened when we ask a question about the event.
Is the period the same as the timeline, or it could be smaller, or it could be the timeline?
Periods here are like segments of the timeline, and then event, like, again, periods of time. Okay. So it could be, the rise of the such and such empire.
Okay. Gotcha.
Or, that kind of thing is a good example of a period. I'm sorry? Within
the timeline.
Yeah, everything happens within the boundaries of the bookends that we've established. Okay. And then at the end of it, the lens finishes up. I add one more element. And then the person who went just before me calls out a legacy, something suggested by the round but not explored. And they then add a scene or event relating to that legacy, to one of the legacies we've identified, including the new one, if they want. And then the next person is the lens. And we move on and we do this at least 5 times, right? Because there's 5 of us.
Yeah, I'm assuming even though this is a quarter of what we're doing, this is the large quarter.
Yes, absolutely.
Okay. Got it.
So I'm going to say that our focus for this first round is habitable systems. Okay. And so I'm going to start us off by creating a period. And I'm going to say that this is, I think it's going to be light, but we'll see. My first period here is going to be settlement of the near boundary.
So
near boundary
Alpha Centauri and...
Yeah. So the near, and here I'm envisioning the near boundary being the first area we settle, that is settled. It's where humanity or whatever species, I'm assuming humanity, I'm being very anthropocentric here, but it's where we first enter this sector from, and the first stuff that we find. And I think this is a light period. This is exciting and fun, right?
Okay.
So that's a period, settlement of the near boundary. This is probably pretty early in our expansion process. People can create events under this, or we can create entirely different periods. But I'm going to pass. So, Ben.
So this is period or
an event within an established period. Yeah.
Okay. I am honestly drawing a complete blank at the moment.
Okay.
Can we circle back to me?
Well, let me say this, just so that we can keep moving things in order here. You can certainly
Yeah.
ask for help, but again, the goal is mostly to have each of these be done without interference from other players.
Right,
Okay?
right.
But of course, you can ask for help, certainly. Again,
I mean,
you
wouldn't
can
just
come up with something
take
that
me
happens.
and put me in a later portion of the order be all the help he needs? Like, if he just wants more time to think, that seems reasonable.
Sure, I'm fine with
Bump
that.
me
Peter?
down one.
Sure, Peter, you got something?
Yep. I'm gonna put this as like a very, very early event. I'm gonna call this the starting blocks. And this is a specific event
Mhm.
because I want this to be this FTL technology is developed in some traditionally like not considered to be like a great power nation and open sourced. I was actually thinking Malawi, and the scientists that developed this open source it,
Okay, so
which sets us off a massive gold rush to the stars.
right. So our EFTL, extended faster than light travel,
Yep.
developed in Malawi. Okay, so you've kind of re-described. Well, okay, so this event, you're talking about the event of EFTL being developed in Malawi and open sourced.
Yep.
Okay.
Yeah, the team comes up with it and immediately like open sources it, puts the plans up on the internet, available for anybody.
Yeah. Okay. Cool. So is that light or dark?
That's very light.
Okay. As a reminder, you can absolutely have dark events within light periods, light events within dark periods. These ups and downs of dramatic tone are important, right? They give us variety. All
Sure,
right.
and I've got some dark stuff, but
Excellent.
not this.
Absolutely. All right, Ben, back to you.
So we want robots. Are we doing AI robots? Is that the plan with that? And the other question I have for this is, is it human tech or is this alien tech?
It's your turn. You tell me.
Because huge Battlestar kid, I like the idea of, as we are developing EFTL, we come across at some point post Malawi open source, we discovered I don't want to say race, but a group of sentient AI robot. So whether that's AI, let's go AI, hive-minded AI, I guess, alien robot race.
Okay.
As a dark.
So does this happen before or after the settlement of the near boundary? When does this happen?
I would say post settlement of the near boundary.
Okay. So is this a period maybe of conflict?
Yes.
All right. So how about we make this a period, right? And I'm speaking up a little more than I should here, but I'm trying to kind of walk you guys through how this works.
I think that's necessary here.
Really vague right here.
So this gives us room, conflict with.
So I kind of think, if it makes any more sense, what I'm kind of thinking is along the lines of like Lost in Space, the reboot of Lost in Space, where the alien robot sentience is something that we stumbled across that initiates conflict, whether that's because of, I would say probably because of misunderstanding more than hostile versus peaceful.
All right. So do we want to call this period the first AI war?
Yeah. Let's do that.
Cool. All right. We've established a new period that we can play around in. Ryan?
I want to go under New Boundary.
Uh-huh.
Okay, so New Boundary is a period, right?
Yep.
Okay, I want to do an event. I've discovered my only issue with Microscope. I no longer only want to play this for 3 sessions.
Yeah, that's the problem.
I have discovered the true curse of Microscope. Okay,
There's
Yep,
nothing
welcome to
saying that we can't put this world in a little jar.
that's true.
Yeah, we can keep coming back to it. That's the beautiful thing about Microscope. We can come back to different points in time.
That's also true.
And do stuff.
I want to do light.
All right, so you had an event for during the settlement of the near boundary. What was that?
I want to do a light event.
Well, let's talk about the event first, and then we'll we do the event, and then we figure out the tone.
I want to do something called the creation of the coalition, which is all of the, I guess, civilization, settlements, whatever, that are between whatever the starting point is, if we're calling that Earth or whatever we're calling it, and the edge of the new boundary, not as some kind of like giant republic, but as a united, we're together as we go out to whatever's past the edge of the new boundary. I don't want to make some kind of giant lake empire, but I want there to be an understanding of amongst the surrounding planets that are part of the edge up to the new boundary.
Okay, so I'm going to label this loose unification of old Earth and new systems under the banner of the coalition.
That works.
Newly settled systems.
Yeah.
Okay, cool. So that's a great event. And light or dark?
I'm going to go light, and I'm going to assume there are some alien races in there somewhere.
Okay, so old Earth, newly settled systems, and
that may include some alien races
newly
that are in
discovered
the boundary.
alien species under the banner of the coalition. Okay, cool.
Works for me.
Daniel.
I think I'm going to go for an event after the first AI war.
All right, and as a quick reminder, our focus is habitable systems. I've been bad about calling out the focus, but that's all right. But yeah, go ahead.
Right.
Event during the first AI war?
After the first AI war, or that concludes the first AI war.
Okay.
Which we would call like the AI treaty, that we would recognize the sovereignty of the AI colony and their space.
And I presume ends the AI war.
Yeah, that's presumably a treaty ends a war, yes.
Bueno.
Yeah, but that's basically like no win. In my mind, it's like not a win or a loss. It's, I think you'd said that it started from like a misunderstanding. So there was a war and we were able to reach a treaty. So they have AI space and we have I space.
Okay, so how about this? The AI treaty establishes sovereignty of AIs and AI societies, ending the conflict.
Yes.
All right, light or dark?
I would call that light.
Okay. Because I can
I throw a name on the treaty?
You are welcome to come up with one.
I was thinking just a simple what did I just have? I just had in my head. Going off of your words here, the sentient sovereignty treaty. That way, as we are talking about it colloquially, it would be the SST.
Sure,
it's not bad. It's got a good ring.
I like SST. That's a good initialism to just throw in there,
acknowledging both the sentience of both sides and
yeah.
Okay, cool. I dig that,
and I like that. Just as an aside, as a nice precedent for how we will interact with AI going forward, because there's a recognition that they're sentient.
Absolutely, that's good. Okay, I'm going to come up with one more here as in my role as the lens here. Add one more element. I'm going to throw in an event in the settlement of the new boundary. And we're going to say, I'm going to call this collapse. Let's see. Working through this here, sorry. Collapse of the, somebody give me a nice planet sounding name.
Brindle.
Of what?
Brindle.
Grindle?
Yeah.
Grindle 4.
Ooh.
There we go.
I also like this as a precedent of naming planets after fictitious things.
Yeah. So I'm going to call this a dark one, but there's somewhere in here, the Grindle 4 society just completely collapses.
So not like a physical planetary falls apart collapse, like a socioeconomic or something.
Not the planet like implodes, but like the society breaks down.
Society falls apart.
Well, and we haven't gone into the details here.
Oh, that's true. That's true.
This could be a terraforming failure. This could be a leadership failure. This could be socioeconomic. It could be any number of things. But this, the collapse of the Grindle Force, expansion, colony, settlement, whatever you want to call it. I'm going to say colony just for lack of a better or society. Let's just call it that. Scatters refugees throughout the near boundary. There we go. Okay, so we've done one round. Almost. Last thing to do, Daniel, you went right before me. Okay.
Yep.
You need to pick a legacy, something suggested by what we've talked about this round, but something we haven't really explored.
So to make sure I'm understanding this right, for example, could I say the EFTL that was developed comes from ancient technology that we discovered? And so the big breakthrough came in Malawi, but was from the technology, like ancient relic technology.
Yeah.
Okay, hang on. I'd kind of like to avoid that because what I'm trying to do is make it so that somebody from a marginally, usually marginal part of the earth actually came up with a good idea on their own, and you're kind of going ancient aliens on me here. Like, oh, those Egyptians couldn't have built the pyramids. Okay. It must have been aliens. Could we maybe do that with like the robots or some other thing?
Yeah.
Maybe
some of the Peter, I get where you're coming from on this, and I agree with you. I am going to remind you, though, we do generally need to let everybody come up with stuff on their own, because that is how Microscope works. Is it's a lot of, okay, I didn't see that coming in, but here it is. Now I got to work with it. In terms of overall structure, I think it's fine, but just as a reminder, that's how Microscope is designed to work. It's weirdly enough, like the collaboration is, how do I work with that in a lot of ways?
But I think I have a
in terms of
suggestion
tone
for that.
and other things, I'm with you on that. Like, I'm totally fine with it. This is just a reminder.
I tapped the X card here.
Yeah, no, I understand that. I'm just saying that I want to remind you that that's how the game is.
I understand how Microscope works. I tapped the X card here.
Yeah, no, I'm totally fine with that. I'm trying to clarify, not countermand you. Does that make sense?
Okay.
So we're going to back that up.
Yeah.
And let's go with, you know what? Instead, let's say that maybe it's in settling the near boundary that we find some more of those ancient artifacts. So after the EFTL.
Okay. We're talking, let's identify a legacy here. What's something that we have hinted at but haven't explored?
What caused the collapse of Grindle 4? Does that work? Because you said you left it vague.
I have left it vague, yeah. Okay, so when we talk about a legacy here, this is something that people can keep coming back to.
Okay.
So this may be a big event, right?
I think for the purposes of what we're doing tonight, I think it's best for the start of each time we do something different in Microscope, if maybe, despite how the structure is, you maybe take the lead the first time, because I think we're a little uncertain how to proceed.
Okay. Yeah. Well, I might call out, like, colony collapse, or we just mentioned newly discovered alien species. My legacy might be aliens. We've hinted at aliens. We kind of just mentioned in passing that aliens exist.
Okay, well,
but we haven't explored those.
Then to give Daniel kind of what he was originally trying to do, how about just the discovery of alien artifacts?
Sure. Or how about
they don't necessarily have to be tied to anything, but here's the first one somewhere in here.
Or Daniel, how does this sound? The discovery of aliens? We're not alone,
I guess that does tie to would in theory tie to the EFTL.
Yep, I like that. Yeah,
sure. Alien societies, those exist. That's cool. And the reason I want to be kind of strict about this is the next time we do a legacy, right, which would be my turn because Ben's going to be the next focus. I pick a legacy. I can pick from our new legacy to choose to create an item from, or one of the existing legacies that we've established. Okay, that's why I'm being a little picky about these. All right, so Daniel,
okay,
now that we've established,
say that last thing again.
We get to explore a legacy, right? We add an event or scene relating to one of the legacies, including the new one that we just came up with. And when I say we, I mean the player who went just before the lens, the person identifying the legacy.
So you can either pick up a legacy or create a new one.
Well, you create a new one, but the event or scene you create can relate to any legacy, including the one you just created. It's kind of a little bonus thing.
So it's it's the legacy has two portions.
Yeah, exactly.
Okay, gotcha.
You come up with a legacy and then one, not a period, but an event or scene relating to it.
Got it. Okay.
So, all right. So Daniel, give me an event or scene relating to alien societies.
Let's see. An event or scene relating to alien societies. I guess I can keep this kind of vague, but
Sure.
How about learning alien agriculture?
Okay. What does that fall under? What period is that?
I suppose the period would be, let's see, I guess it would either be under settlement of the near boundary, or it could be even after maybe it could be after like the first AI war, when the conflict is settled down, so now we have time to like focus on growing instead of just surviving.
Okay. Where do you want it?
I like my second answer better.
Okay. So how would we phrase that? Development of extraterrestrial agriculture?
The extraterrestrial agricultural revolution.
Honestly, that sounds like a cool period.
Oh,
but yeah,
that's
all right.
Yeah, there you
kidding.
go.
All right, I'm going to bend the rules.
Too bad there's no time travel, because all the time travelers would be revisiting that.
Well, actually, no. I mean, yeah, it needs to be a specific thing. Okay, so yeah, the extraterrestrial.
That sounds exactly like the name of the fourth Wikipedia article I would click on in a series of going too deep down a chain.
Indeed.
You
all
could,
right,
you could shorten it to the X-Ag revolution.
Well, it's okay.
Okay.
Agricultural revolution. I love it.
I mean, go ahead and stick that in parentheses like we did with SST. That's probably how people in the world refer to it.
Okay. Light or dark?
I think this is light. This is like a hopeful time. We've managed to resolve the conflict, and now we're doing the part where we're not just like surviving, we're learning to thrive.
Okay. Excellent. All right. So we've hit the end of one round. So next, Ben is going to be our focus. Having said, or lens, excuse me, and he's going to pick a focus. Ben, you are now our lens. So pick for us a focus for round 2. This is anything that we want to talk about. It does not have to be at all related to stuff we have talked about already. As a reminder, if you want stuff from our palette actually in there, you should probably use it.
I think it's something in here. Maybe sure. I think I pulled that for the first one actually. No, this is because I think it's important to have in any story, a story of filling it all out. Corporations. Because I mean, how else did we get to where we go? Either corporation. I don't know if it's a separate thing but like political / economic corporation. My
Thank
thought
you
being
so
that
much for teeing up the next thing I was thinking of.
because my thought was like 15th century Catholic Church was not just religious; it was political and business all at the same time.
I'm trying to think of a good general term for this.
Well, I think in most science fiction, or at least a lot of what I'm familiar with, just slapping the word corporation on something sort of covers what he's referring to. They become that. Like if you look at like what's the cyberpunk? If you look at cyberpunk, it's just
mega corporations.
Yeah, like it's just the word you slap on everything big.
Yeah, you have Megacore and Omnivat and yada yada.
Yeah,
Right.
they're just
general and.
Do we want to make the round focus here then corporations?
Yeah,
and we can just sort of work around that.
Yeah.
Okay, so our round focus is corporations. Everything that we need to come up with for this round should in some way touch on corporations in a fairly broad sense.
Good or bad?
Yeah, absolutely.
Okay.
Right.
All right. Ben, what's our first one?
This would be pre-settlement of the new boundary, because they exist before that. The Platinum Nova Syndicate.
Okay. So establishment of
a quasi-Yakuza-esque. It would be the criminal organization. But,
yeah, sorry.
so establishment
what was
of the
name
Platinum
of the organization?
Platinum Nova Syndicate. Gives the space, gives the crime, gives the money.
And this is kind of is this a criminal syndicate? Is this a...
Yeah. It's it's business. It's a business front, but definitely seedy underbelly, backdoor dealing kind of thing. So like very mob / Yakuza-esque.
A crime corporation, basically.
Yes.
Sounds like a cross between the Yakuza and the Chicago outfit.
Right. So I was thinking instead of establishment, maybe the rise of.
All right. That works for me.
They spec'd into space travel early, and it turns out it actually worked.
Right. And they would have been somebody who took the open sourcing very and used it for their ends while somebody else is using it for beneficial.
Okay, that sounds good. All right, light or dark?
Dark.
All right, and I assume we're doing this as an event here under our development of FTL or EFTL. Okay, cool. Peter.
Okay, this is under the settlement of the new boundary, but before the loose unification of old Earth and newly settled systems.
Okay, after collapse of Grindel 4?
Before.
Okay.
And I'm going to call this the tightening of the golden fist. And this is basically a bunch of corporations kind of create these horribly exploitative little isolated enclaves off in remote, sections of space where they can just do all kinds of horrible things and commit OSHA violations left and right and just use people as machines, basically. And this is definitely a dark one.
Okay. Just to double check with you, on our lines and veils, we've got slavery as a veil. Are we touching on that at all here?
No, I think we're just talking think every awful cyberpunk corporation or Wayland Yutani from Aliens or something like that. Just
Okay.
Just normal bad,
Overuse
insufficient
of people.
accountability. Yeah.
Corporate greed.
Like,
Okay.
yeah,
Just wanted to double
standard
check.
corporate greed nonsense.
Wanted to double check on that.
Yeah. Actually, probably a better way of thinking of this is Industrial Revolution stuff in like England, where it's like, yeah, you're getting paid, but you don't really like a lot of like the fights over labor laws and stuff haven't happened yet. So that kind of a thing.
Okay. So we've got these wholly owned, isolated, exploitative enclaves, exploitative industrial enclaves.
Yep. Probably mostly mining, I would think.
Sure.
Such
Like
as
the company store.
Space Tradition. Yeah.
Yeah, company store, like yeah,
Sure.
just
Well, do you want to limit it to mining or just have it as a more general thing?
mining and heavy industry, like they're not doing like setting up like coating sweatshops and stuff out there. I'm kind of trying to invoke a little bit of like the coal mining and stuff that went on in like West Virginia and stuff.
Yeah. I get you. Okay, so we've got mining and heavy industry enclaves. And I like that specificity a little bit because it says like, hey, this sector's bad. There's others. It's okay.
Yep.
Cool. All right. I like it a lot. Ryan?
Can I type in the thing in the document? I want to make sure I spell something right.
That's a great question. Give it a try. I don't know.
Like, sorry, I meant more from a you don't care perspective.
Oh, I don't care.
I know it works. I tested it earlier. Okay, so I'm going to go an event under.
Okay, so real quick. Events don't nest under each other.
Okay. Scenes nest
they are
under
in
events.
order. But if you want to go under something, you can have a scene, which is a very specific event where you ask a question and then answer it. And either you can ask a question and answer it, like how, like what was it like what was the moment like when EFTL was announced? Or who announced EFTL?
And that's exactly where I'm going with this. Okay.
Super specific.
Okay.
Or you can say, hey guys, what was this like? And then we all come up with a couple of characters, play it out, and see what that was like. And that's what a scene is.
Okay, so I want to go what it was like when I want to make sure I say this right. Malawian, I believe is correct. The Malawi people, released the EFTL, and I Googled something, and hopefully the translator did not betray me in this. So I'm going to do the scene is the creation of the Kwa Onse, which is a not-for-profit open source organization in Malawi that holds the open source licensing for things like the EFTL.
Okay.
It's them open sourcing it, but them open sourcing like kind of the same way you do Linux.
Right. Linux establishment of the
Linux Foundation or something. Yeah.
Sure. Okay.
Like
so
them taking them not just doing it, but keeping themselves involved in it.
So what's the question we're asking here? And when I say asking, you're posing a question. You may have an answer.
Sure. I'm posing the question of how did they release the EFTL? And my answer is that they do so through the creation of an open source organization.
Okay.
I guess is what I'm going with it. Yeah. There we go.
Yeah. That's totally fine. So how was EFTL announced and handled? Given to Kwa Onse to hold and oversee.
It's if I got the translation correct, it's the Chichewa, which I think is their primary, well, it's not their primary language, but it's their main native language. It's the way you say for all.
Neat.
In that language. Technically, apparently, the primary language in Malawi is apparently English, but the primary native language appears to be that.
Gotcha. And light or dark?
Can it be both?
Sadly, no.
Okay, I'm gonna go dark. Not
Interesting.
because it's bad, but because it ends up making it open source allows it to go poor places. That's why in my mind it's both, because it is used for good and bad.
Well, let's have it as dark. I think that is interesting, because that makes us say, okay, well, this was it seems like a good thing, but tonally, why was this bad?
And I don't, to be clear, I don't want to put this on them as being a poor decision. It just ultimately leads a poor place because other people make bad decisions from their good one.
Okay, well, then I tell you what, why don't we say that that's a good decision, right? That's light.
And what happens afterwards is a bad decision.
Other scenes that follow or other events that follow that are themselves dark.
I prefer that, yes. Because I like keeping with Peter's tone of where this comes from.
Yeah.
But ultimately, when you open source something, it lends to the potential of something poor happening with it.
Right. And we've also now established this quat-once foundation,
right,
which is great.
Which is really more my point than anything else.
Right. Cool. All right, Daniel.
Something that happened as a result of the XAG revolution is that the need for, let's say, that the corporations around the Golden Fist, or their power was weakened a lot because you have this sudden expansion in technologies that maybe you're not relying so much on whatever's being mined out of that sector.
Like it lessens it lessens galactic dependency on them.
Yes.
Good.
Oh, so galactic subsistence farming revolution. That's kind of cool.
Yeah, it's a revolution in two ways.
Okay, so XAG revolution, is that freeing these workers from dependence on the corporations?
Or just opening up the galaxy as a whole?
I mean, it would probably do both. If you can grow your own food, you don't need to buy it from the company store.
So in my mind, it's one of those domino effects. It opens up availability so people don't have to go to the mining colonies. So it's in my head, this is something that it's not just instantaneous of, oh, this thing's over. It's over time the Golden Fist grows weaker and weaker and weaker because this revolution is pulling more people from it. So it's not just like a light switch flipping. It's this thing takes place over time.
As the dependency lessens, as their power lessens, as the dependency lessens.
Yes.
Okay.
I'm also, if anyone wants to jump on it, I'm setting a stage for a good conflict. Because power never lets go of power without a struggle.
Yeah, sorry, I'm trying to think how to phrase this here.
Yeah.
Because you were describing a big movement.
Yeah.
It relieves tension. It relieves resource tension. Slowly relieves resource tension. I think to Daniel's point, that's not something that would happen necessarily immediately.
You could even say that it weakens the monopoly of the Golden Fist.
Lessens reliance on the Golden Fist or something.
Yeah. Kind of like the decline and fall of the Roman Empire, how, Rome didn't actually end in, 611. That's just a very handy date, but that's not really what caused the fall of the Roman Empire. It was 200 years of slow progress till it happened.
It's less of a breaking point and more of a description of what leads to the breaking point.
Yeah.
Okay, so let's write this as loosening of the Golden Fist. XAG revolution breaks corporate monopolies and allows corporate enclaves more independence.
Great.
Okay. Light or dark? It's okay if it's light.
I think this is one of those light things that there's definitely room if someone wants to come in with some dark consequences. Cool.
Sure. Absolutely. All right. I guess it's my turn now. So, corporations. Okay, I'm gonna. Ooh, let's see. I'm so focused on writing, I haven't had a chance to think a whole lot here. So let's go back to the first AI war here. We've got our sovereignty treaty, but before that, why don't we say that AI-driven war fleets developed by corporations fought large parts of this war.
And these are separate from our other original AIs.
Sure, these are what's fighting
against the AIs for the non-AIs.
Yeah, for us. And I this also is playing into a legacy I want to establish a little bit. So
okay. Interesting.
Fighting fire with fire?
A little bit, yeah.
Okay. Intriguing.
Well, more like
I think drone fleets here.
Yeah, I was thinking like drone fleets trying to chase down birds. Like
okay.
Because one is like, sentient and developed.
Fluid.
And the other one is we invented these things that kind of look and behave like them. So like if we made a fleet of ornithopters to go fight birds, I think, if I'm understanding you correctly.
Thank you, Daniel.
Yeah, so development of AI-controlled drone fleets by Earth corporations for fighting against alien AI societies. And I'm going to label that as a dark thing, darkened tone. All right. Ben, you, as our lens, get the final say here. You can add an event or an event and a scene.
I was actually playing with, kind of going off of Ryan. I don't know if this necessarily fits in the Microscope structure that we were trying to do, but I have the linguist who created the universal translator.
Ooh.
Okay.
I mean, that's another event, technically.
Yeah. So there'd be an event under, I would probably put it pre-FTL, since we had it, and then it's just a developmental...
Let me throw this out there. Is that maybe what ended the AI war?
Could be.
Ooh, I do like that.
Yeah.
If we're voting on ideas, that's a fantastic idea.
It could be. I'm trying to also keep with what Peter was talking about with Malawi and the open source and all that. Aolani Kewa is a Papua New Guinean Papuan linguist. They are the most languages on Earth in any one country. Seems appropriate that they would be the ones to unify a computer structure to translate Google Translate, essentially, but it actually works.
Live, constant, on the spot Google Translate.
Cool.
Right.
Okay, so we got a Papua New Guinean linguist. If you can put the name in chat or type it in here.
Yeah, I'll type it in. Where would you like to put this under the AI war? There we go. Got it. I see it.
That seems logical to me, but it's your choice. I
don't know if this is going to screw us up in understanding, but that's apparently the right term. Okay. Papuan.
Close enough.
That's fine.
I think there's only so many things that start that way. I think it's still discernible enough.
Yeah.
It's
fine.
And honestly, I think the burden's on us to understand it, not for them to come up with a better word.
Yeah, I put it in parentheses just for my notes, but that's fine. All right, light or dark?
A light.
All right.
Because it helped. Because the way I see it is, this is the unifying event that allows the miscommunications and the misunderstandings in societies to not be verbal. We still have the cultural clashing, but we don't have verbal clashing and misunderstandings.
Okay. So you as the lens have the opportunity to add both an event and a scene in that event. Do you want to add a scene of somebody using this to establish communication with these alien AIs for the first time? It'd be nested under this.
Yeah, I don't have anything for that. I necessarily.
Well, that's okay. That's totally okay because we could play this out as a scene.
I don't have anything necessarily for this that I was thinking.
Then we
of.
We can leave it alone, and we just we can kind of assume that that's there, and that's okay. Okay, so my role as legacy here, so I'm coming up with a legacy. I think my legacy here is going to be semi-sentient robots. So we have AIs, but we also have a lot of just robots around. Started as these drone fleets, maybe not.
So we still maintain the tin can aesthetic for some amount of it, but not all of it.
Yeah, sure. Absolutely.
Would you call that like Star Wars droids versus actual AI?
Dumber than droids is what I'm personally thinking of. That's why, hence semi-sentient.
Like one of the VIs from Mass Effect, like that guide one on the Citadel that kind of tells you where everything is. And
this much Mass Effect, right?
I know, it's real early. It's like you're walking around the Citadel kind of in the early portions of the game. And
so
it's like Avena is the name of it. You walk up and it kind of tells you can find this over here.
I mean, I think we all understand the idea of like helper robots that aren't fully sentient. Yeah, absolutely. Trying to figure out where to put an event in here for that. I think I'm going to put that before the loosening of the Golden Fist here in the extraterrestrial agricultural revolution. Spread of robotic, spread of hardy robotic workers allows, I want to use the word exploitation, even though that's kind of the 4X term, access to previously unavailable resources. And I think that is a light thing.
We've determined that this gas giant has a bunch of, hunks of palladium down in the bottom of its crushing atmosphere. Sure would be nice if we could get that somehow.
Yeah, absolutely. So there's my legacy and an event based on that.
Thanks for listening to City on the Hill Gaming. If you'd like to hear more episodes, find us online at cityonthehillgaming.com or wherever you listen to podcasts. You can follow us on Twitter at City on the Hill Game, on Instagram at City on the Hill Gaming. You can also find us on YouTube or Twitch by searching for City on the Hill Gaming. If you'd like to send us an email, you can find us at cityonthehillgaming@gmail.com. If you want to hear more from the Saving the Game folks, find them at stgcast.org for their backlog of episodes. And we're also on Patreon. You can find us at patreon.com/cityonthehillgaming. Thanks as always to all of our Patreon backers, Grizzly Rich, JD, Bryan, Sir Lord Epic Name, Andrew and Christina, and Tony. Thank you guys for all you do to support the show. We love you, and we appreciate all of your help. Thank you for listening, and have a blessed day.